What I've got here on my desk today are two seemingly identical amplifiers at first glance, but they're actually an old version and a new version of a similar model, being the TA-26 and the TA-26S, both from xDuoo. These are OTL amplifiers, meaning they're output transformerless. That also means they're going to work really, really well with high impedance headphones like certain Sennheisers and those from ZMF. And so let me tell you now if I think you should be upgrading your old TA-26 to the new TA-26S, and also, of course, whether I think it's worth buying the TA-26S if you're thinking about getting into OTL amps. To get things started, I want to say a huge thanks to Apos Audio for sending out the TA-26S for review. As is always the case here on Passion for Sound, regardless of who sent it to me or what the brand name is, it doesn't influence what I say about the product. If it's good, I'm going to tell you. If it's not so good, I'll tell you that too. The TA-26S comes in at $319 US, making it once again an excellent value proposition, assuming it's good, for an OTL amplifier. Now, as I said before, this is a direct replacement for the original TA-26. I'm going to go through what's different about them in just a second, and as a bit of a spoiler, there's not very much. And so I should add that if you want to know more detail, there's a few things that I've gone into a bit more depth in over in the original review, then do check out that review as well. Pretty much everything I'm going to say in this review is transferable to the old review and vice versa. Specifically, I've gone into a little bit more detail in terms of the importance of output impedance and what OTL amps are all about. I've covered all of that in more detail in the original TA-26 review. But I'll still cover off the stuff that matters here, so don't feel like you're going to miss out if you just watch this one. Now, in case you're wondering when you're looking at the ones on my desk here, the TA-26S is this guy, the original TA-26 is this one. And so let's talk through now the key features and specifications and what makes these two different. Both of these amps will output 500 milliwatts into a 300 ohm load, and that means they've got plenty of power for all your usual suspects. Your ZMF headphones, Sennheiser HD 600, 650, etc. If you've got some of the 600 ohm Bayer Dynamics, they'll be happy on these as well. And these amps are rated as actually driving any headphone from about 60 ohms all the way up to sort of 300 or 600 ohms. I didn't get a chance to measure the output impedance from the new TA-26S, and I can't recall if I did it in the original TA-26 review, but either way, it's rated for 60 to 300 or 600 ohm headphones, and that means you're probably going to see an output impedance of around about 10 ohms. Now what that means is that it's going to potentially alter the frequency response of headphones that are below that range. Even sort of the 60 to 80 range, you may find some slight influence on the frequency response. And it can also change what's called the damping factor and make a headphone sound a little bit looser, a little bit kind of fuller and smoother sometimes as well if it's in the lower impedance range. But I did lots of testing on the TA-26 review and found there wasn't a huge impact on most of the headphones I tried. It will influence the sound a little bit, but it's not going to drastically change the nature of those headphones. So again, do go and check out the TA-26 review if you want to see some of the headphones I measured and how they played out. But the summary of it all is, it is a headphone amp designed for higher impedance headphones, again 60 to 80 ohms and above, but it will also drive easy to drive planar magnetics even at lower impedances. Carrying on with the tour, and this is probably where I need to pick up the TA-26S and show you around. If we look at the back of the amplifier, it's almost identical to the original TA-26, and that means we've got a pair of RCA inputs and a pair of RCA outputs. So this can be used as a tube preamp, and it's a lovely tube preamp. If you like what I have to say about the sound quality of the headphone stage, think of that as duplicating for the preamp. And then the first key difference you'll find here between the TA-26 and the TA-26S is the fact that we've now got the power switch on the back. So it seems that xDuoo have been watching shit audio and decided to start putting power switches on the back. I think that's a shame. I think in this regard, shit audio is not the role model that you want for where to put a power switch. But they've chosen to put the power switch on the back because, if we roll around to the front, they've wanted to remove the power switch from the front to give you a 4.4mm socket. So again, we've got one key change on the front panel like we did on the back panel, and on the front panel, the key change is that we've got the same volume knob, we've got the same 6.3mm socket, but then we've got a 4.4mm socket where the power switch used to be. And I have to say that I think it's a fairly redundant choice. There was absolutely no need to add a balance connector here for any reason other than convenience, and that's what it's for, it's just convenience. This is not a balanced amplifier, it's not a truly balanced connection here in the sense of headphone connections. It is just a convenience 4.4mm socket. And that's lovely for convenience. I think I probably would have rather keep the power switch on the front and have this come shipped with a nice 6.3mm to XLR or 6.3mm to 4.4mm connector or adapter. I think that would have been better personally. It's exactly the same output circuit connected to both of these plugs, it just makes it easier to connect 4.4. And in order to get that, you lose the power switch on the front, which for a tube amp I think is a shame because you don't want to leave a tube amp running all the time. The reason for that, in case you're not aware, is that when you're running tubes, even if you're not playing sound through them, you are burning up their life. Now, tubes last for a very long time. We're talking thousands and thousands of hours, so you could easily run the stock tubes that arrive with this for multiple years before running out of them, but that's assuming you're going to turn it off when you're not listening. So I don't really think it was a great choice by xDuoo to make the TA-26S a balanced headphone amplifier. It's not balanced, it's just a 4.4mm socket, and putting the power switch on the back is a little bit less convenient. Now, in case you're wondering, the changes that we just spoke about from an aesthetics point of view, the fact that the power switch has moved, the fact that we've got this kind of 4.4mm unbalanced socket on the front, the fact that all that's there might make you wonder if the internals are any different, and the answer is no, they're not. Everything else about these amps is exactly the same as far as I can possibly tell. There's no componentry change, there's no circuitry change, there's no tube change, it's all the same. And that's actually not a bad thing. The original TA-26 was great, and so why mess with a great thing? In case you're not familiar with the TA-26 though, I should tell you that we're running here a 6N8P and a 6N5P tube. The 6N8P is at the front, that's your input or your preamp tube. And then you've got the power tube or the buffer tube is a 6N5P. Now if those terms don't mean anything to you, they're the Chinese variants of these tubes. But what it means is that the front tube here can be a 6SN7 tube, and that the back tube can be swapped for a 6AS7 or a 6080 tube, all of which are pretty common and easily available tubes both in terms of new and new old stock. And so what we've got here is a simple, basic OTL amplifier at a really good price with tubes where there's plenty of rolling options should you want them. And so the question then comes back to whether or not you're going to like the sound of this. And I have to say that I still think the TA-26 and the TA-26S, they're essentially the same. I still think they're probably one of the best, if not the best, affordable tube amp on the market. I should put a caveat there that I haven't played with the little dot options. I know they're very popular as well. And I'm not sitting here saying it's the best amp on the market. I am saying it's one of the best. I like it better than the Dark Voice 336 SE. That's going to be partly due to the stock tubes that it comes with and how they work with the circuit. But I think that the stock package you get when you buy a TA-26S is fantastic. If you don't want to do tube rolling, you can take it out of the box and immediately get great sound. Whereas I felt like the Dark Voice 336 SE was just a little bit thick, a little bit too lush and woolly out of the box, and it was really going to take tube rolling to get it just right. Not so with the TA-26S. I'd describe the sound from the TA-26S as being a slightly smooth, slightly rich sound, but it's not at all thick and rich and woolly. And I mean rich probably as being overly rich, like too rich. Once we get into the world of tubes, a lot comes down to the choices of the tubes themselves and how they're being set up in the circuit. And I think xDuoo has struck a really nice balance here, both with the choice of tubes, but also the way they've tuned the circuit with the capacitors and the other bits and pieces in the signal path. Clearly, being a tube amp, it's not going to be as transparent as a $300 solid state amp, but I'm hoping that you wouldn't be here looking at this review if you're looking for pure transparency. If you're going down the path of tubes, it's because you want that little bit of magic that they bring to the mid-range, that bit of smoothness that they bring to the sound, their ability to play so beautifully with high impedance headphones. That's why you buy tubes, not for pure transparency. For a lot of my testing with the TA-26S, I was driving it from the Chord Mojo 2, and as I went back and forth from the excellent and very clean and neutral headphone output on the Mojo 2, and then used that same output to drive the inputs on the TA-26S, what I heard was that the TA-26S really only lost a little bit of resolution. It wasn't dropping massively. And so what you're doing is you're trading off maybe 10% resolution if you had to put a number to it, and what you're getting in return is this slightly smooth, slightly kind of rich version of what you'd be hearing direct from the Mojo 2. And so that goes back to what I said before. You're buying this to add a bit of coloration to the sound. And to do that, you're trading off just a tiny bit of resolution, but surprisingly not that much. The other thing that tubes do really nicely in my experience is they generally produce a lovely sense of soundstage. And that's true for the TA-26S as well. And by the way, all of this is with the stock tubes. That's without any tube rolling. I'll talk about tube rolling in a moment. And so just with the stock tubes, taking this straight out of the box, plugging it in, hooking up a source and going for it, you're going to get that slight drop in resolution, a lovely sense of smoothness and richness that doesn't go too far, and then also some fantastic staging. And what I found, once again using the Mojo 2 as my benchmark, was that the staging was not in any way reduced going from the Mojo 2 to the TA-26S. I don't think it expanded it either for that matter, but it maintained it really well. It provided a lovely focused central image, an excellent sense of width and depth in the soundstage. And so all in all, I find the TA-26S, as I said before, to be an excellent choice if you want to dip your toe in the world of OTL amps. If you want something that's a bit more versatile, then you can always go down the path of the hybrid amps from xDuoo. I think the MT601 and the MT604 in particular are excellent. I've reviewed those on the channel before. But if you've got yourself, or you're planning on getting yourself, a pair of high impedance headphones and you want a wonderful amp to go with it, then the TA-26S for me is an easy choice and recommendation. But rather than wrapping things up there, I did also want to just touch on some tube rolling options in the TA-26S. I did a lot more tube rolling for the TA-26 video, so again, if you're looking at going down this path, check out that video. Particularly, you might want to jump to the tube rolling section because there's not a lot more that I had to say about the sound. But I've got some other tube rolling that I did for the TA-26 review, so check that one out if you're into tube rolling, but I want to cover off a couple of extra tubes that I didn't have at the time of the TA-26. For all of this testing, I put in my favourite input tube in the back, and that was a Sovtek 6AS7 tube. Now I think this is a new production tube, but I'm not 100% sure. And actually I've just glanced at my notes and it's a Sovtek 6AS7G to be specific. So that was my tube at the back. That just helps to raise the clarity and the transparency of the amp a little bit further. It doesn't turn it into a solid state sounding amp. It's still a nice tubey sound, but it raises the clarity and the articulation just a little bit, and it's a tube that I really like in the TA-26 range. It also brings just a touch more weight to the mid-range and brings the vocal forward a little bit as a result. And so for me, I think it's an excellent choice if you're looking for that beautiful kind of mid-range focused sound. You're pairing it up with a nice pair of 300 ohm ZMFs or Sennheisers. The 6AS7G is a really nice addition, specifically the Sovtek one I mean. From there though, the tubes I was actually testing were a couple of NOS tubes that I picked up. NOS being new old stock, meaning that these were produced way back. They've been sitting in a box in a warehouse somewhere. Someone's found them, tested them and selling them online. Now in many cases, the NOS tubes, for whatever reason, seem to sound better than the new production. It doesn't make sense to me because we've got new technology, better precision now than they would have had back then. But some of the NOS tubes are absolutely fantastic and just cannot be matched, in my experience at least, with any of the new production tubes. And so on this occasion, I've got two NOS tubes here. One of them is an RCA, it's a CRC 6SN7 GT tube. And the other one, the labelling's not on this one, I don't think. I'll put in the notes down below. I'll have to go and check my notes from when I bought this, but I think it's a Kenrad was the variation of it. It's another 6SN7 tube. Again, it's new old stock. And so I had these two to check out. The track I used for my listening test here was Whispering in the Night by the Amazing Rhythm Aces. And starting off with the NOS RCA tube, what I found was that it wasn't a huge upgrade on the stock tube, the stock 6N8P. I think the mids probably had a little bit more weight to them, a tiny bit of a thicker sound to it, not thick in sense of getting muddy and losing detail, but just a bit more kind of weight and presence. I think overall, the sound was a bit more refined. You could say it was a bit richer or smoother across the board, but again, it didn't go too far into becoming too thick or losing detail. It was just a bit more smooth, a bit more refined, as I said before. Having said that, I wouldn't kind of jump out and say you've got to get this tube. It was just one that I thought I'd try because I had it here. The one that was a bit more interesting to me was the black tube here, the smoke tube. Moving over to this one, and I'm going to call it the Kenrad. Hopefully I haven't got that wrong. As I said, I'll put on screen what it is. Moving over to that one though, and that was a lovely upgrade in sound quality. From memory, I spent about $40 or $50 on this tube, and the sound it delivered was a clear upgrade over the stock tube in there. Now, having said that, I'm not recommending you should go out and spend a bunch of money on tubes. You don't need to. You can get wonderful sound from the stock tubes in this. And as I talked about in my original TA-26 review, you can also get great sound out of various new production tubes that are generally going to be cheaper than the rare NOS tubes. What I found from the Kenrad, the smoke tube here, was that it basically took everything about the stock tube and just improved it all. Sense of smoothness and refinement was better, tonality was unchanged in a good way, and articulation and clarity was also improved despite being smoother and more refined. So that for me is a bit of a keeper, that tube. I really like the sound, and I think possibly my ultimate setup for the TA-26S would be that Kenrad tube and the Sobtech 6AS7G. And that's as deep as I'm going to go into tube rolling here, but I did want to call it out specifically to say that you can absolutely tweak and tune the sound of this amp to your taste just by finding the right tubes. And as part of that, I want to reiterate, don't go chasing tubes that are a fortune. This is a $300 amplifier. You shouldn't be spending more money than that on tubes, I don't think at least, and particularly not until you get a sense of the sort of sound you might like. So if you are dabbling your toes in the water of OTL amps and you've thought about buying a TA-26S, then I do think it's a great choice. I think it's a wonderful amp that straight out of the box is an excellent sounding option. And then from there, what I'd recommend is dabble in some of the cheaper, kind of new production, easily available tubes until you find the sound you're looking for. Once you know the sort of sound you like, then you can go and research specific tubes, specific NOS tubes potentially, or maybe more exotic new production tubes. You can go and track those down and buy them knowing exactly what you're looking for. For me, that's the way to go about rolling tubes in an amp like this because it is a relatively cheap amp to start with. It's a very good amp, but not one where I think you should pour hundreds and hundreds of dollars into tubes. And so to bring all this to a close now, I think the TA-26S is another winner of an amplifier. If you have the original TA-26, I think hang on to it. I personally think it's a better amplifier because there's no benefit in the 4.4mm connector. There's also lots of benefit, in my opinion, in having the power switch on the front. And because they're otherwise entirely identical as far as I can tell, which is to say that I can see no differences and hear no differences as I listen to them, with that in mind, if you've got an original TA-26, just hang on to it. Invest the money you would have spent selling yours and getting the new one, invest that into an adapter to take your 4.4mm or XLR connected headphones down to a 6.3, or up depending on which way you're going. Having said that, if you don't yet have an OTL amp and you're looking to get into the market for one, if you've got $320 to spend, the TA-26S is a fantastic choice. For the price you pay and the performance it delivers straight out of the box, I think it's really hard to go past. I think it's better built than something like a Dark Voice 336 SE. It's also more compact, which for me, I think is a good thing for a desktop style amplifier. And then there's plenty of tube rolling options should you feel the need to roll tubes. So if that sounds good to you, if you're in the market for a great tube amp, check out the links down below through to Appos. I'll put a global link there as well for those of you that aren't in the US or Canada. And hopefully if you decide to buy yourself a TA-26S, you'll love it as much as I do. I still think it's one of the best bang for buck amps on the market if you want to get into tubes. And so as always, I hope you found the video useful, helpful and informative. And if you have, I'd love it if you hit the like button. And please hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell if you haven't already. But for now, let me leave it to the music, so happy listening and I'll see you here next time on Passion for Sound.